exposing the latest standoff in the Mediterranean, an event that's not just making headlines, but also raising urgent questions about international law, humanitarian aid, and the ongoing crisis in Gaza. This is a story that's unfolding in real time, with the world watching closely as tensions escalate on the high seas. Israel is currently blocking a flotilla headed for Gaza, a move that has reignited fierce debate across the globe. The flotilla, made up of dozens of ships, is attempting to break through a blockade that has been in place for over a decade. The Israeli Navy, equipped with advanced surveillance and military technology, has positioned itself between the flotilla and the Gaza coastline, determined to enforce its maritime restrictions. This standoff has sparked a wave of international debate. Newsrooms, governments, and activists are all weighing in. Why is this happening now? And what's truly at stake for the people of Gaza, for Israel, and for the broader international community? Let's break down the key issues and the history that led to this moment. Gaza has been under an Israeli blockade since 2007, following the takeover of the territory by Hamas. The blockade restricts the movement of goods, people, and even basic necessities into and out of Gaza by land, air, and especially by sea. Israel argues that the blockade is necessary to prevent weapons and materials that could be used for military purposes from reaching Hamas, which it considers a terrorist organization. This means that every shipment, every boat, and every piece of cargo headed for Gaza is subject to strict inspection. Humanitarian organizations say these restrictions have created a dire situation for Gaza's 2 million residents, limiting access to food, medicine, fuel, and construction materials. The blockade has been condemned by many international bodies, but Israel maintains it is a matter of national security. This week, a group of 45 ships, collectively known as the Global Sumud Flotilla, set out from Greek waters. The flotilla is a coalition of activists, humanitarian workers, and journalists from around the world, all united by a single goal: to deliver desperately needed humanitarian aid directly to the people of Gaza, bypassing Israeli controls. The ships are loaded with food, medical supplies, and other essentials. Activists on board say their mission is peaceful, and that they are acting in solidarity with Gaza's civilians. Israel, however, has cited security concerns, warning that it cannot allow any unauthorized vessels to reach Gaza's shores, regardless of their stated intentions. In a public statement, the Israeli Navy announced it would intercept the flotilla before it could reach Gaza. Officials emphasized that any aid must be delivered through established channels, where it can be inspected for contraband. The Navy's message was clear: unauthorized attempts to breach the blockade will not be tolerated. Elite naval commandos, trained for high-risk maritime operations, are leading the interception. These units have been deployed in similar situations before, and their presence signals just how seriously Israel is taking this challenge to its authority at sea. On board the flotilla, activists are being confronted by Israeli forces. They're faced with a stark choice: return to port under escort, or risk arrest and prosecution for attempting to break the blockade. Negotiations are tense, with both sides refusing to back down. Israel has offered to transfer the aid through its own ports, promising that all humanitarian supplies will be inspected and then delivered to Gaza via land crossings. However, the activists have refused this offer, arguing that previous aid deliveries have been delayed, diverted, or blocked entirely. The activists are demanding direct delivery to Gaza, insisting that only this method ensures the aid reaches those who need it most. They see their mission as a form of peaceful protest against what they call an illegal and inhumane blockade. Tensions rose even further after activists reported that drones had flown over their ships, with some claiming that their vessels were attacked or sabotaged. Video footage from the scene shows damaged decks and activists scrambling for cover, adding to the sense of urgency and danger. These incidents have only heightened fears for the safety of those on board, and have drawn condemnation from human rights groups and international observers. The flotilla's organizers are calling for immediate protection and an independent investigation into the alleged attacks. In response, several countries, including Spain, have sent naval vessels to escort the flotilla and monitor the situation. These warships are not only a show of support for the activists, but also a signal to Israel that the world is watching. The presence of international navies has raised the stakes, turning what began as a regional dispute into a potential flashpoint for global diplomacy. The crisis has now captured the attention of world leaders and the global media. International organizations are calling for restraint, urging all parties to avoid violence and to seek a diplomatic solution. The United Nations has called an emergency session to discuss the situation, and governments around the world are issuing statements of concern. Meanwhile, the interception of the flotilla could mean further delays for much-needed aid. For the people of Gaza, this is not just a political standoff, it's a matter of survival. Every day that aid is delayed, families go without food, medicine, and other essentials. Children, in particular, are bearing the brunt of the crisis, with malnutrition and disease on the rise. The humanitarian situation in Gaza remains dire, and the blockade continues to be a source of deep division worldwide. Protests have erupted in cities across the globe, with some condemning Israel's actions as collective punishment, while others argue that Israel has the right to defend itself from potential threats. Supporters of Israel point to the ongoing security risks posed by Hamas and other militant groups, insisting that the blockade is a necessary measure. Legal experts are divided, with some saying the blockade violates international law, while others argue it is justified under the laws of armed conflict. The debate is as heated as ever, with no easy answers in sight. This incident is a stark reminder of how fragile the situation is in the Middle East. The region is already marked by decades of conflict, shifting alliances, and deep-seated mistrust. Even a single event, like the interception of a flotilla, can quickly escalate, drawing in regional and global powers. In today's interconnected world, local crises can become global flashpoints in a matter of hours. The world is watching, and the decisions made in the coming days could have far-reaching consequences for peace, security, and the future of humanitarian aid in conflict zones. So, what do you think? Was Israel justified in intercepting the flotilla, or should the ships have been allowed to deliver aid directly to Gaza? The debate is raging not just in political circles but also among ordinary people around the world. As solidarity demonstrations continue and activists vow to keep challenging the blockade, the world is left to grapple with tough questions about justice, security, and the rights of civilians in conflict zones. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. How should the international community respond? What's the best way to balance security and humanitarian needs? The story is still unfolding, and your voice matters.